Hey guys, we are here doing the outside inspection of a house, and I have my designer Kelsey with us and our contractor Brandon with us, and we are going to go ahead and use our rehab estimate sheet that's in the download below. So make sure you print this out, make sure you take it with you, because I'm going to be using this. I use it on every single house, and you need to use it too, because it'll keep you from forgetting something, okay? So if you remember in our training, there was things that specifically we look for on the outside of a house, and I bring my contractor because he's going to see things I might not see. He might tell me, hey Paul, what about this foundation over here? It's a big issue, whatever, and I got to address that on the spot, but that affects my renovation dollars, okay? I also have my designer with me because she's going to be telling us stuff that, hey, we need to be doing this, and we need to remove cabinets, and stuff maybe I didn't think about. She's going to be like, hey, I know you want to get away with just painting them. Paul, we need to gut them. We need to pay the $8,000. I want to get top dollar for it, and I have to adjust my numbers on this sheet. So they're with me today. Let's start walking around, and you guys just jump in wherever you see fit. So guys, we're going to start at the front door, and just like the interior of the house, like I've taught you guys, I want you to go to the right and go all the way around the house. We're going to do the same thing on the inside. You go in, go to the right. That way you don't miss a bedroom, a bathroom, a closet. Everything needs to be on here. So let's start walking. So we're at the front door. Kelsey, first thoughts of the house. Are we painting the outside? Because Brandon's going to need to know, and that affects my numbers on here. So
from a design standpoint, it's not terrible, but for quickest resale, I would go ahead and paint the brick. I'd do it more of a white color or a lighter color to make the house look bigger. And then if you want to be on trend and give everybody what they're craving, I'd go ahead and take the beams and wrap them in wood, because everybody loves that rustic farmhouse trend.
Okay. So paint all the brick white. Okay, and then what about the top? What about the door? What about the trim around the windows?
So for the window trim, we could contrast it with the black, or you could just stick with all white, because that's just going to make it feel bigger.
Well, one of my problems, we did an all white house before, and it was a lot of white.
But we're going to offset it with the stained beams.
Okay, so we're going to contrast it. Okay,
Yep.
So wood beams on the front. Brandon, what do you think? Something like that? 4 of them? The 4 beams?
About
$400?
Yeah.
So $400, and that's just labor? So usually your labor and your materials are about the same number. So if my materials are $400, I usually know labor is going to be around $400. That's just a very generic way to figure it out. If my rehab's $20,000, usually half of it's materials and half of it's labor. So use that just as a general. So I'm going to put $800 for wrapping and painting the exterior. How many square foot is it? Gotcha. I got Kelsey. I know it's 1,900 square foot. I'll
There
save
we
you.
go.
I'll save you the.
Done.
So
You're the expert.
1,900 square foot. I times that on here. You guys can see that I wrote down paint, $1.45 a square foot. That's for my area. That's what I pay. Meaning, I pay my guys for labor, but I also have materials included. So I pay them a dollar amount per square foot, and then I know materials usually cost me 30 to 40 cents a square foot as well. I round it up to $1.45. It covers me. I'm safe.
Oh, we got a crack here. I didn't know if you wanted to get somebody to address it, take a look, see if it's a foundation problem,
Okay.
or if it's something that just be patched up, make sure that nothing's falling, cracking.
Yeah, and actually I see the crack here as well. So it could have a little bit of settlement. But they didn't cut this and divide it. So yeah, let's bring out our foundation guys and let's get that looked at, just to make sure it's not a settlement issue that we can fix right away. If it's not a settlement issue, it may be just the grout in here is cracking.
Regrout.
We can regrout it, but let's get the experts to look at it too. I did notice up here on the roof, we got a couple leaks.
Yeah.
So when we get up on the roof, let's address that. It's got some rotten wood. We're obviously got to pull that off and fix that before we. But that's a good indicator that maybe that edge is rolling and lipping up a little bit. It's holding some water. So let's get up on that roof here in a little bit. We'll inspect that because I see it there and I see it there. So let's get that looked at. And then with these beams, Kelsey, you just want these beams. Basically, you want it out to the front, squared off. You want it further back.
Let's look at this one at the corner, because that's going to dictate everything. You're doing the same. So
it's
I
gonna
would
be
say
back.
wrap it backwards.
So it's wrapping it into there.
Correct.
Okay.
And they all need to be the same.
The same width, the same. And which actually tucked in pretty good with the roof line.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna look beautiful.
Are you gonna trim the bottom and top?
Yes.
Just a 1x4.
1x?
I think that'll be perfect.
Okay. So we'll trim the bottom, trim the top, give it a little bit of a decorative look.
Got somebody trying to fix this at one time. Where it was rotted out. They pieced onto it.
Okay.
That's not good though. As water runs down it, it's just gonna run back inside up and just rot it again.
So basically, anywhere that there's a door, a garage, always on the bottom is where it rots out first.
We'll check that side, but this one you can cut. Somebody's done replaced, had problems there at one time.
So instead of just ripping it off, they just cut it,
Cut it.
threw a bottom scab piece in, but it cosmetically it doesn't look good either.
And
I
over time
I
it
see
will.
some separations up here that.
It will do it again.
It
You
will?
know, that-
Okay.
With that crack being there, it ain't nothing permanent.
Okay. Awesome.
That is not gonna fly.
Okay.
Also, the lights. We're gonna have to change out the floodlights as well as this wall mount here too.
Okay. So new floodlights. Okay.
Want to check this while we go?
Yes. One of the things that we talk to you guys about inspecting is the garage doors, and the reason I learned this is because somebody got me one time, and I don't want you to learn the hard way. The reason they got me is the seller had the door open when I showed up, and of course they want to show you all the cool stuff that isn't wrong with the house, but I want to see everything that is wrong with the house because it affects my numbers, and it affects Brandon, and it affects Kelsey. So Brandon's going to go ahead and pull this door down and let us look at it. That way we know if it works or not. So as you can tell, it looks like someone hit this garage door here and here. It still opens. They hit it here as well.
We got a seal problem. No, we're missing seals on both
Okay.
sides of it.
So guys, this is why it's so important. We're seeing damage on the door. We're seeing it's missing a seal on this side. Brandon just pointed out to us that bugs can go in, animals can crawl in. And that's a pretty big space. I mean, you'd be surprised the size of animals that can come through.
It'll get called out.
So this stuff will get called out on an inspection. The door being damaged, not so much, but cosmetically, where Kelsey comes in for design and the way it looks, if you're going to spend so much money, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 on a renovation, you want it to look perfect when they pull up. And the garage door is one of the things that they see right off the bat because the driveway is right here to our left. So
We are gonna want to paint the garage door and the front door as well to match.
same color?
Mhm.
Okay. What color? We're thinking black, you said maybe?
Black or a tan would be pretty too.
Black or a tan. Okay. And Brandon brought up a great point on one of our other houses. Make sure you just don't look at your level or just look down. Always be looking up. So you want to look from the top of the roof all the way to the bottom as you're walking around the entire house. Keep your eyes open and just try to be the negative person when you're doing this because you want to find everything wrong with the house to save money.
Wood screwdriver or something.
Yeah. Kelsey, can we
I'll
save
have to
this?
go.
Do you want to take that to our house?
Take it out.
Take this out. Brandon can seal it and then makes the whole house look cleaner and nicer. Okay. Got a little bit of crackage here. Let's have him look at that as well. Another floodlight, Kelsey, obviously. Brandon, let's go ahead and remove all this. It's very important for the exterior of the house to look clean, crisp, fresh, and when you have stuff and shrubs against the house, it can't look that way. So you want it to look as clean as possible, and if you look past Brandon, you see all these little shrubs that have grown up over time, get all them off the house. That gets bugs off the house, those roots can go underneath the house and hurt the foundation. We want all of that cut back, all of this cleaned up, mowed beautifully. If you have to sod it so it looks fresh. So let's keep it clean or Kelsey will get you. Let's make sure this is sealed in. Put it back in.
Well, and that red can't stay.
Yep. Yeah, repaint that black. What do you think about the windows, Brandon?
These are really good quality windows. Whoever put them in did a Very, very nice job sealing them
What
up.
kind of material is this?
That's that PVC. It never rots. It'll be there as long as we'll be here. You'll never have to worry about these windows. The windows themselves vinyl, so they'll never rot.
Okay.
They use lead boot fasteners to connect everything. They never rust.
But we'll paint them so
Everything
it doesn't
we
look
paint.
like you can't see them. So windows are very, very important. If you look at a house, I mean, on this house alone, there's probably 20 windows. So you not figuring out if the windows are good or bad, or are they the old brown ones that maybe the seals are bad? And when we go inside, we'll look around windows and look at the seal around them. Is there any water? Is there any rot? That'll tell you really quickly if you need windows. But if you miss the windows and there's 20 of them at $400 a piece, and insulation, it can get very expensive. So check out the windows. That's a very important factor. So on my sheet, I put windows, 0. So I'm happy about that. Big saving. Come get all this trash, get this out of here. Let's go ahead and cut some of these limbs down. We don't want anybody walking through the yard. You can probably get it from the roof. We don't want anybody hitting their heads on it. It just makes it feel clean. We'll pull this pole out of the yard. I do see this right here, Brandon. Bugs, all kind of bugs, all kind of insects are getting underneath the house. We don't want that. Brandon has an easy fix for that. But we'll also paint that. They painted it red so you can see it when you're mowing, weed whacking, you don't break it. But the homeowner can do that later. We want that to match the house, all look the same. We'll throw that screen back up. I'm seeing some.
Yeah, I'm seeing it here on that right there. Looks like all that same thing.
Okay. So we got a little bit of rotten wood. Joints, usually where wood comes together, it's very easy for things to start to rot, start to break apart. And you can see it here. And you can see a little bit of the faucet.
You never want to see water dripping off your roof if it ain't if it ain't raining outside.
And I think another reason that it's leaking is, remember that those trees up there, all the leaves are sitting on it. So
It ain't never
that takes longer to dry out. You don't want leaves, you don't want stuff like that sitting on a roof and holding water. Couple of bees nests. Underneath here looks very good.
This is a great space.
This is a very huge back porch. You know, we'll just tap that in up there, tap in a couple spots where it bowed out. But I think this can be pressure washed and painted. I wouldn't even probably mess with these lights, Kelsey.
They're fine.
They're fine. Let's just clean them.
Need one right there.
Definitely the outside light's missing. Do you want us to paint this concrete floor? Or just leave it. Just because
I see some cracks.
I see some stains.
Yep.
So can we paint this concrete paint in
Same
gray?
front color.
Gray.
Right.
What color is that?
Mine.
The dark one?
The dark
peppercorn?
Peppercorn.
Peppercorn.
Kelsey will figure that out.
Yeah, I'll send a whole.
But guys, it's very easy just to paint these. The inside of a garage floor, a deck floor. I mean, $200 maybe.
Makes a big difference.
It makes a big difference in the house. It makes it look fresh. It covers up stains like this. It's the best bang for your buck. You can't really lose with doing it.
Vine, throw in, pull
I
off.
see someone trying to break in the door.
Yeah.
So if you look at this door, you can see.
It will need
Keep a
to be
screwdriver with you. You have to keep one of these with you. Looks like somebody jammed this in here and probably broke in. And these locks are different. That's a kind of an indicator too. So when we go inside and pop this open, we'll go ahead and see if it needs a whole new door, because we don't want a broken door. We don't want people to think, oh my gosh, it's a bad neighborhood, someone's breaking in. The problem is the house sat vacant for a long time, and it just invites criminals and trespassers to do that. One of the other things I do want to point out on all doorways is to check. This is called a door core. Okay, the door closes. I take a screwdriver and I push on every one of them. That looks solid. That one's not bad. This is a little soft down here. You can see where it's breaking apart. An inspector, that's not bad at all. That can be fixed. Some contractors use some Bondo, sand it, and repaint it since it's not bad. If it's rotten, guys, let's be ethical. Let's get it fixed, okay? Some new family is going to move in here. We don't want anything rotten. We don't want termites. We don't want bugs. We have to fix something if it's not right. So we do want to fix that, but you need to check this on every single doorway on the bottom. A WDO, wood destroying organism inspection, is required on your property, and if it fails, you cannot close on the house because they will not lend on it. Okay, it's law. So these things cannot be like this. If you see an infestation of bugs,
Seals
termites,
gone.
what's that?
Your seals are gone.
Your seals are gone, like the garage door is missing a seal. You have to fix these things or you can't close. And as I'm sitting here, I noticed this is loose. You can see the screws are sticking out.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want this loose. You can tighten this up. It takes 2 seconds. I don't want an elderly person coming down and they go to grab this, it loose, and they fall and hurt themselves. So very simple things like that can always be fixed. What else you see, Brandon? What's going on here?
This was an old door, a 2-section door, and then this one so it didn't open.
So that was a double door.
Yeah, at one time.
So we need to probably remove the whole thing.
I recommend pulling it all out, putting it out the door.
I have one. We have one in our storage unit that will probably let me know dimensions, and I have one that we pulled from another house that's brand new actually. We can throw it right in here. With double French doors, Kelsey, that's huge, right?
It almost looks like it's leaning to me too.
Yeah,
It is. Yeah, this side right here, it's 3.5 inches, and it looks like this side's probably like 2. So basically, they didn't square it all.
Yeah.
See what Brandon's doing right now? Pulling vines off? I don't do that stuff because I've had poison ivy a couple times, and I don't know what poison ivy looks like. So get some gloves. Okay, what's all this on the ground, Brandon?
We got weed mat, trash,
Just some different
stuff
stuff.
that we need to just get cleaned up.
Yep, so when you do your yard cleanup, guys, I mean, all these vines will be pulled off before we even touch it, before we even prime it, before we even paint it. Another floodlight here, another floodlight there. Floodlights in Florida, aren't a huge necessity, meaning they won't fail you on an inspection. But I'm not going to spend $40,000 on this renovation and let $30 floodlights stop a buyer from just being like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect house, because I have some rusted out, broken floodlights. So, AC. What do you got here? Let's talk about this real quick. What's coming off that roof? Oh, what's this bringing? Right here. That's an issue for real. Okay, so stuff like this, guys, if you can move that way. Stuff like this, that's a lot bigger of an issue than maybe on the front where it looked like some grout was cracked.
You can tell somebody patched it with something at one time.
Yep, someone tried to patch it before, but this is actually looks more like a settlement issue. It's actually settling down, and this side isn't settling down, so this definitely needs to have a foundation expert come out, because this might need to be lifted, and they might need to put a piling or something underneath it, but that is a costly thing to get fixed. So, AC unit, it's an older unit. I talked to you guys about a website that you can go to in our last training where you can type in the serial number on it, and the serial number is basically found right over here. And you guys can type in that serial number on that website, and it'll tell you the exact year of your unit, okay? You just need the serial number. Is it a train? Is it a pane? What kind of unit it is? And they can actually tell you exactly when it was produced and installed. All these will require permits to be put in, so you can actually go to the county website again, property appraiser, and they can tell you when this was installed, because you just go by the permit for the air conditioning unit. I see that dryer vent. Definitely want to clean that up. So all this foam here, it's just used to seal, because this vent probably wasn't the exact size that it should have been, but we need to fix that. This is not cosmetically pretty. It seals it, it does the job, but we don't want that. But if you look down here, this isn't sealed. Again, I don't want bugs under my foundation. I don't want bugs underneath my house. We'll get that sealed up. That's a, 2-minute fix, and Brandon will have that fixed. If you do notice, the back of this AC is wet back here. You can see all the water sitting back here on this AC unit. It's dripping off of the house onto the AC unit and then getting pushed back because of the slope on the AC unit. The AC unit isn't exactly level, so the water's flowing off the AC unit onto this, and you can see it's actually rusting this box out. So we want to address this. We want to get this leveled out to where it's not doing that, but maybe we even put a small gutter, a small deflector on the roof to keep the water from hitting the AC unit anyway, because when that fan's running, you don't want a pile of water hitting on it. And Brandon's going to address the leaves and stuff that are up here holding that water and getting that fixed too. So, all right, let's keep going. We're almost around the house. I do see a couple broken shingles on the edges. We can address. Okay, so this is the crawl space for underneath the house. This is awesome to have. Not all houses have them. It depends your region, depends where you live. If you're in Arizona, if you're in the Carolinas, you might even have a basement. In Florida, we don't have that many basements, but we have crawl spaces for under our houses so we can get underneath there, fix floors, do whatever we have to do. If you can tell, you can actually see underneath here, there's actually a moisture barrier underneath this house, so moisture can't come from the ground and touch the bottom of our floors. Okay, they put a moisture barrier in here. That's a great thing to see. I've been to houses that don't have that, and then you start running into mold issues and rotten wood under the house issues, because we talked about things to look for on the outside of a house. Water has to flow away from the house. If water does not flow away from the house, what does it do? It sits at the house and it sits at the foundation, which seeps underneath your house, and then it gets hot out. Mold starts to produce. It produces on the wood. It goes up into your subfloor and then up into your floors, and then somebody's getting sick because there's mold. So seeing this moisture barrier in here, I'm very excited about that. I love seeing a crawl space. My guys can get underneath there, fix any plumbing issues, electrical stuff, all that stuff that's underneath there. Some houses have dehumidifiers, which kick on and kick off automatically and suck moisture out of your house if it's underneath there. So if yours has one, that's amazing. It's great. Keep it serviced. If not, it's okay. As long as you have it vented, like, you know, we were walking around seeing all the vents on the side of the house, that's perfect. That's good enough. So if you have that, it's a bonus, but if not, it's okay.
And make sure crawl space is lockable.
Yep, make sure this is lockable. Great point, Brandon. You don't want kids, bugs. You don't want this thing left open and some child's playing hide and seek gets underneath there. It's just squirrels for sure. A lot of things I've seen is snakes, and you don't want snakes underneath there, and you have to go in there and fix something. So.
What about this tree? Is the whole tree coming down?
The whole tree is not coming down because Tallahassee will not allow us to take the tree down. And we learned that from our roofer. You can actually get fined for cutting it down, taking pieces of it down without permission. It's a old thing. Tallahassee's known for big old oak trees. We're going to get permission. Brandon's going to get permission from the county to be able to cut it off of the house, because we don't want insects, ants, bugs crawling off of that and getting on our roof, because then they get in the attic and all that, and it starts to create damage. So talk about this.
Usually want to check all your water bibs, make sure they cut on and off good, and make sure everything's sealed around them. They ain't loose. Make sure that if you hit them with something, they ain't gonna break off.
Yeah, because I think one of the last houses we did, it was actually a little bit loose, and they went to tighten it, and it broke it off in the wall.
Yeah,
and then now you have a water leak, so you got to run out there, turn the water off. But also now you have to get behind that into the wall, which is brick, open it up, and if yours doesn't have a crawl space to fix that, you got to go through the wall. So very important. If it feels loose, secure it. If it's not sealed, seal it, and then you're good to go. Make sure it turns on and off and works properly. So Brandon's going to have all of these small cracks addressed with our foundation guy, and we're going to go off their recommendations to get them sealed. We're back at the front door, and we are going to begin to start the inside in just a second. Let's walk the porch real quick and make sure we don't see any cracks. I see a little few cracks up here. It looks like just cosmetic. It just broke away. Just needs to be resealed. When your painters do outside, inside, always make sure they do good prep work, meaning get rid of the old, reseal all your inside your windows, reseal any cracks. Stuff like this being broken off, we need to figure out, number one, why is it doing that so it doesn't do it again, address the issue, and then seal it up and paint it. Don't let them come in and just repaint or reseal over an old seal that's broken. So everything else looks great. Front porch looks great. We'll replace this light, obviously. Kelsey probably has some nice farm light or something like that, but let's go ahead and head to the inside and we'll inspect the inside.